In this video, I'm going to share with you how I produce a sample-based boom bap beat in Logic Pro using Logic Pro only. So keep watching to see how I find samples, chop them up, loop them, and make a complete beat by arranging them, mixing, and mastering. Let's go! So first things first, the context here is that I sometimes contribute with a beat to the Producer's Corner's sample challenge. They have been doing this sample challenge for 373 consecutive weeks, and they're having a live stream every Saturday where they play back all the beats that have been sent in and they evaluate them like on a scale from 1 to 10. So here we have the playlist for the sample challenge. So I ended up using the first two, I think, and this one, Cal Cheddar. So I started just listening back to each of them, and then I found parts. You see here, I've found a lot of parts. Where do we have it? Here, the main loop. This was the one I started off with, using the quick sampler. Sounds like this. Pitched it up 3 semitones, polyphony on mono so that the sounds don't play with each other. Slice them up like this, doing it manually. I'm just working here like I'm doing with the MPC. So this was the first loop, and that was my get-go, and it's sort of like one tone. It's not much of a melody, so it was quite difficult getting a bass line to fit with this without it being just one note. I added another loop again with the quick sampler, chopping up apart from Cal Cheddar, Django. Sounds like this. Really like this sound right here. This is so nice. And I ended up doing like this. Inserted a bass sample as well. A bit dusty and grimy, really dirty, this bass. Came time for some drums. I found some drums I liked in this track right here, Chumfkar, but there was a lot of other stuff going on, and then you had the magic with the stem splitter. So I split this song into stems. That's where I found my drums. I chopped that up and I made this snare hat loop. It goes like this. I wanted a kick. Listen to the kick. It's way too hollow for my taste. I want a more snappy kick. You know, when you stick a pillow inside the kick drum, more like that effect. And that I found at the very end here. It's played a bit more muffled. Let's listen. Here we go. This one right here. The kick, snare, and the hat. Listen. So I wanted some swing to it. I have 2 different kicks here. The first one is this. This is the main kick, and then we have a secondary kick, which is, or a ghost kick as I call it. This one right here. And I have set the velocity down to 26 to have it played really soft. It's not perfect because it's sampled from an MP3 that has been stem splitted with Logic. So it's really not ideal, but hey, when you want to do everything from the samples, that was sort of my challenge, to do the whole beat, the complete beat, using only the samples, no external sounds, no sound packs. So here we go. Here we have the main loop, we have the kick, we have the snare hat, we have the bass, and we have the alt loop. Cool. And then I always want to add something more. Here I have a flute part, and this is from the third thing, the Rocko-score, I think. I just tried to make it fit with the other elements. Like that. And then I found an effect like this. And here I've used the sampler, the Logic Pro sampler, which is the son, I guess, of the EXS. And I've added a tape delay to it, stock Logic tape delay. Really nice, and with the flutter effects, I really like that. And then I have the xylophone. And it works in the context like this. Listen. Without the flutes. Here we have all the elements. What I did then was select everything like this, and then I hit export 10 tracks as audio files, so only these. And then I exported them to a folder, and then I dragged it in to a fresh Logic Pro session. This is the Subphotic digital template. I have erased all the tracks that I didn't need. This is the finished arrangement. What I initially did was imported them right here, like so, and then I drag them up to the corresponding tracks right here. Select everything, and then I can hit Command R and across the timeline like this. Yeah, so that's basically what I've done here, and then created the variations. So I'll just play it back without any plugins. First off, the arrangement. I had the goal of making this beat about 2 minutes long. It's no hooks or choruses in this beat. It's straight spitting. So I've designed this beat for someone who just wants to do 32 bars, 48 bars, something like that. Just one verse. That's the main idea here. What I really focus on with this beat is having sufficient variations to make it interesting, because it needs to tell a story, sort of. Yeah, so that's the arrangement actually. So the intro, the first 4 bars is sort of stripped down, and then the rapper starts here at the 5th bar, and then he raps all across the beat until it stops with the echo of one of the effects fill-ins right here. Or he stops 4 bars before, and there's maybe some vocal chops or samples or some cuts and scratches for the last 4 bars. So that's the main idea. There are some beat breaks here and there, as you can see. And some of the elements come and go. I have used some automation to strip down everything. On the mix bus, I have an EQ that has two filters, one high pass and one low pass. So you can see here, I've removed the bass frequencies, nothing below 100 hertz here. And then I decrease it right here, like increase the filter. So up to 440 before the drop. Sort of. You can listen to the effect as I just engage all the plugins again. When the bass comes, it sounds more big than it otherwise would if I hadn't done this automation right here. You also heard that something happened with the drums, transition control. This is a plugin called Transit by Baby Audio. And whatever you do with this plugin, it sounds really good. it makes everything sound interesting. And I've yeah, so that's the intro, and I use the same trick right here in an intermission part right here. This is sort of like a bridge or whatever. And then comes the mixing. And the mixing is mostly what you see with the faders right here. And then comes some processing. The main thing I've done is to remove some mud or rumble in the low end, reduced a bit of the high end using a really gentle filter, 6 decibel per octave. And also on the main loop, just removed stuff. Right here, I've automated the filter. This is the loop that I started with initially, and then I found out that when playing together with this one, it was a bit messy. So I did this instead. You can listen with and without. A lot smoother, and you can listen to the transition right there. And then there we have the fill-in. Here I have used a delay, an Echo Boy, ping pong delay with the cheap tape setting, some saturation on that one, some low cut, some high cut, 8th delay. Listen up. That's a xylophone. And then we have the flute. I have inserted an echo plugin straight to the track with about 10 o'clock with the dry ping pong, also cheap tape, but this is more pronounced and bigger. Listen. Also here I've cut some low end, some high end, nothing much more. No compression, no nothing. Let's see. And then we have this send effect. Here I've just cut some low end and nothing more. Up to the drum loop, I have cut some low end here, like this, as I showed you, and some compression. You can listen with and without. This was just to tame the snare a bit and pull the hi-hat a bit forward. You can listen with and without. Just to keep it tight, locked in. No compression on the kick. I've removed a bit of a high end, rolled it off a bit. And then comes the bass. For this fill-in bass, I've applied a decapitator just to pull it a bit forward to the mix. Let's see. At all, I have done 8 on the drive, so it's a lot of drive, and the mix is more dry than wet. And then we have the main loop, which I have just done some gentle high passing, and here we have some compression going on. This is to increase this sound right here, which is the sound I like the most. Just listen to it. This one right here, dung. I wish I could isolate that and have only that playing, but there's other instruments coming up on top of that again. But listen, you can listen to it all. And without the compression. You can see it also on the slope here that it reduces only the second part, not the first part, which is a bit quieter. Now comes the buses, and we have the drum bus, where I have this transit going on that I mentioned before, and with the transitional effects. I have an SSL compressor, bus compressor. A clipper to clip the drums, to give them more character and more consistency. Really like this one. Listen. I usually don't like to have a plugin do that much, but this was just necessary. And then I have the bass. I have removed some of the side information. So this is a side filter, high pass filter, but only to the sides, just to make sure that nothing in the bass sounds are stereo in the low end. And a limiter, a Pro L, with true peak limiting on, because I don't need that much of that initial transient from these bass sounds. I need them actually to be tamed a bit, so that was perfect for this. Yeah, just some limiting there. On the instrumental bus, I have also a limiter. Just to keep everything consistent and nice, not to invoke any character or whatever. So I think the Pro L is quite transparent in that way. And then finally we have the mix bus, which is 2 EQs. One to just dial in the tonal balance a bit, because there were some places that it was a bit off, just tiny changes. Here's some dynamic changes. And then I have some automation going on the mix bus, as you can see here at times. And then there's another EQ, because I felt I needed to boost some in the 15, in the 1.5K area right here. 1514 hertz, needed some boost on the mix bus. And then I have the Bliss, which is one of my favorite mix bus plugins from Kush Audio. And here I increased the 400 region a bit. Quite, it was just, I felt that it needed some more body. And I've used some saturation, slight increasing in the 18K area, just to pull some more high end in, and some compression. I finally have 2 limiters, 1 to 2 decibel of gain reduction, and then I have a second limiter doing about the same. Actually a bit more. And I can push it even further and up the LUFS a bit, get more LUFS. I have 10.3, the integrated LUFS, not the short term, not the monetary, but so here you can see what LUFS I hit. And also on this Ozone, I had an exciter going on to increase. You do this basically the same thing as I did in this EQ right here, just to improve the mid range a bit, the middle of the mid range, 600 and up till 2.7K. Just increase that a little bit. Basically like that. And then I use the stabilizer. I like that. It glues the mix a bit more together. Now listen up. Difficult when I have this other limiter right here to get a fair comparison. I can actually bypass this processing right here, and you can listen with it without that. Don't forget to download the 6 free Logic Pro templates. The link is in the description, and you can go to subphotic.com/logic and you can find them there. And if you want a more in-depth guide on how to mix beats, check out this video where I go deep into how I mix and arrange a beat. I hope I see you there. Peace out.